All right, y'all. So I heard the story about David Otunga basically giving his thoughts out on how John Cena was as him being a partner with John Cena. And yeah, it seems like John Cena, like in front of the cameras, he was a nice guy, but behind scenes, this man was he was a straight up asshole to deal with. And honestly, it didn't really surprise me. It didn't really surprise me because I remember like a year ago, I had watched this documentary. It's called The Dark Side of John Cena, and I would specifically remember John Cena having issues with Zack Ryder. Like the same shit he was telling David Otunga, he was saying the same shit to Zack Ryder. Oh, I will fire you. I will get this, that, and the third. So it didn't really surprise me. It doesn't really surprise me that John Cena was an asshole backstage because, truth be told, when you're in that type of environment, especially when there was no other competition, when you had no other competition, because back then WWE was the biggest wrestling company. TNA wasn't like getting big as it is now or whatever like that, And AEW wasn't a thing either. So really it was just WWE and TNA. And TNA it had its hardcore fans. It had its hardcore fans. But it was just mostly all the wrestlers who didn't want to be in WWE or some old WCW wrestlers go to, like Sting, for example. Honestly, Sting was the reason why I was watching TNA. He was the only reason why. I mean, yeah, he wasn't around back then, but no, he was, because the Main Event Mafia. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when they had the Main Event Mafia with him, it was Sting, I believe it was Booker T, who else? Fuck, who else? I can't remember the other guys. Kurt Angle. I can't remember the other guys, but the Main Event Mafia was good. I liked it. I actually liked the Main Event Mafia. That was a pretty good faction. I'm not gonna lie, that was a good faction. So, there it was. But like I said, nevertheless, they still wasn't on par with WWE at the time. And like I said, WWE was it, man. It was either you was with WWE or shit, you just not gonna be with us, because like I said, there was no WCW or whatever like that. There was no competitive wrestling company at the time. Not like how we have it now, where AEW is a competition or whatever like that. But yeah, I mean, to be told, I'm not really that much of a fan of John Cena no more. Like when I was younger, I used to, but after he had beat Rey Mysterio for the WWE title, and the same night that Rey Mysterio won the WWE title, I stopped being a fan of WWE, honestly. And then when Brock Lesnar squashed Kofi Kingston, that's when I just stopped giving a shit. Like now, yeah, I'll watch like, the freaking Bloodline era now and then. I watch like a couple episodes of the Bloodline era now and then. But even then, I wasn't really that much of a fan of WWE. I was actually liking AEW at the time. It was pretty hardcore. But yeah, John Cena. Yeah, like I said, I wasn't that much of a fan of him. Like I was at one point, but I'm not that much of a fan of him no more. And honestly, this is a perfect example why you should not meet your heroes or whatever like that. Because in public, they may be the nicest guys in the world, but behind closed doors in private, man, they can be some of the most scummiest people ever. Now, I'm pretty sure John Cena probably has his regrets. He probably does have his regrets about how he acted back then. But at the same time, though, this is also a man in his damn 30s, too. Because by the time John Cena became Super Cena, because I'm pretty sure, that was just during his time when he was, I believe it was Super Cena or whatever like that. John Cena was in his damn 30s. He was in his damn 30s. So he should have known, like, hey, man, it's not a big deal. Like, obviously, you can't be making fuck ups like that in, broad daylight or whatever. Not broad daylight, but you can't be making fuck ups and stuff like that. But like, a mistake here and there, bro, it's not worth all that. Threatening to fucking fire somebody and all that stuff. I get it. When you're in the main event roster, I understand. When you're in the main event roster, you cannot screw up, because at that point, everybody has all eyes on you. But come on, John Cena, bro. Come on, man. You in your 30s. You was in your 30s, bro. You was in your 30s. I'm sorry, but in my opinion, once you hit past 24, at that point, you have to you gotta look at your damn self at that point. You gotta look at your damn self and be like, damn, what the hell did I do wrong? You know, what did I do wrong as a person? Because like I said, he wasn't 21 or 22 or anything like that. This man was in his 30s. He was in his 30s. I mean, like y'all saw how Hulk Hogan used to act. Hulk Hogan used to sit there and use backstage politics to get where he was at. So what makes you think all these other big stars didn't use backstage politics to get where they was at? Like, that stuff's been a damn thing. It's been a damn thing. The main person who benefit off of, like, prime example, Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, him and Triple H was the main ones using backstage politics. I mean, mostly just Shawn Michaels in the 90s. Triple H didn't start using backstage politics until he got married with Stephanie McMahon. That was the only reason why he became a big star. I mean, he still was going to be a big star, but he wasn't going to be as big as he is now if it wasn't for Stephanie McMahon. But yeah, so it's like, what y'all expect? I'm not surprised by it. I'm not surprised that's how John Cena act. You know, I'm not surprised about it at all. You know, especially when Vince McMahon favors you. If you was Vince McMahon favorite, of course he's going to choose you over everybody else. He had his favorites, and of course he's going to choose his favorites over everybody else. Like, when I was in my job or whatever like that, my boss, he had favorites. You know, he had favorites. And if somebody would have messed with one of his favorite workers, oh man, your ass is grass. Your ass is grass. You know, so y'all, you know, like, you gotta also remember, like, it's still a job. You know, it's still like, wrestling is just a job. Like, yeah, you know, it's a sport, or like, quote unquote combat sport, whatever you call it, or whatever like that. But at the end of the damn day, it's still a job. You know, it still has that same aspects of a job. You know, so like I said, I'm not surprised by it. You know, I'm not surprised by it at all. Like I said, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, all these big prominent motherfucking stars, Hulk Hogan, even though Hulk Hogan was a damn racist, you know, they still got what the fuck they wanted. And if you had an issue with them, hey, you had to go. Especially since WWE was the biggest wrestling promotion at the time. Like, yeah, you had nowhere to go. Either you deal with them and do as they say, regardless of how you get fucking treated, or bye-bye. You know, and it sucks. You know, it sucks to have to be like that. It really fucking does. But yeah, man. But y'all get what the fuck I was trying to say. It's not the same thing as what Hulk Hogan did. Hulk Hogan, yeah, he said racist shit like that, but he never really apologized for the things he did. And quite frankly, I don't think John Cena really apologized to David Otunga, but who knows? He probably did. But yeah, that's just kind of crazy. You know, like I said, it's crazy, but at the same time, it really didn't surprise me. Because honestly, most of the people in WWE was a whole bunch of scumbags. Randy Orton was a damn scumbag. Shit. He used to sexually harass women backstage. There's a whole fucking documentary about that shit. Ric Flair was worse. Ric Flair was worse. You know, so like I said, all these wrestlers, all these big time wrestlers and stuff like that, they all got skeletons in their closet. They all got skeletons in their damn closet. So, you know, like I said before, you know, this is why you gotta be careful, like, how you meet your heroes or whatever like that. Never meet your heroes, you know. Like I said, I mean, if you're still a fan of John Cena, I have no problem with that. I'm not shitting on John Cena. I'm just saying, this is just my thoughts on it. Like, I'm not really surprised that this stuff happened. Because, like I said, during that documentary I watched, when he had issues with Zack Ryder, he was calling Zack Ryder a piece of shit, saying he's gonna get him fired. Something like, oh, you take substances and all that stuff like that. And, you know, he made a joke, and I guess one of the wrestlers didn't like it, and he was going back his way to get him buried and all that other shit. It's like, dog, when I hear stuff like this about other wrestlers speaking on these big time wrestlers and shit like that, it don't really surprise me. It don't really surprise me at all, you know, because that's just how it is. That's what happens when we got the fame, and that's what happens when we got that fame. You know, people let that fame and shit like that get to their head, and I get it though, you know. Especially in a big crowd, you don't want to make mistakes in the big crowd. You know, you want to, you know, work the crowd, you know, get a good show on or whatever like that. But, you know, sometimes mistakes happens. And, you know, like I said, before, you know, you can't make, it's not good to make mistakes in big crowds, but at the same time, getting mad and punching them and and fucking giving him working him in the like freaking not work, doing shoots and shit like that, doing shoots and then actually hitting him like legit, actually punching this man and shit like that in the fucking ring. Like what the fuck, bro? That's unprofessional. That's very unprofessional. Honestly, I don't blame MVP and all these other guys for sitting there freaking leaving WWE and going to TNA at the damn time. You know, I don't blame them because that's crazy. You know, that's crazy as hell. It was like that, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about this, man. It didn't really surprise me. I'm not surprised about it, but you know, this is what happens, y'all. This is what happens when you got the fame and all that stuff. It gets to your head and it changes you, man. It changes you. But that's all I'm gonna say about this, y'all. Peace.